History worships greatness. We carve the faces of great men into mountains. We write books about them. We name our streets and our cities after them. But behind closed doors, something far colder unfolds. The so-called great man often walks alone. Napoleon Bonaparte reshaped Europe with brute will. He rose from obscurity to emperor. He commanded armies, conquered nations, and rewrote the rules of power. Yet in his most personal reflections, Napoleon confessed a bitter truth. Greatness, in a man, often drives women away, not closer. This truth did not come from theory. It came from wounds. It came from watching Josephine, the woman he loved more than conquest, cheat on him while he fought for her future. It came from rejection, longing, humiliation. It came from watching her prefer comfort, flattery, and momentary pleasures over his towering ambition. This video opens the gates. Most men believe that success will win her heart, that becoming great, strong, powerful, intelligent will attract admiration and devotion. But greatness doesn't always attract love. It often awakens fear, resentment, or worse, disinterest. Napoleon learned this not by being cruel, not by neglecting her. He wrote to Josephine with the passion of a man drowning. His letters begged, burned, pleaded. "I do not love you," he wrote. "I worship you." And still she strayed. Still she pulled away. What did she want? Not a conqueror, not a king. She wanted ease, emotion, a man who centered her, a man who chased her. Napoleon didn't chase. He conquered. Many women say they want a strong man, but when faced with one, an actual titan, they often recoil. Great men don't flatter, they don't grovel, they don't orbit. Their minds are fixed on mission, not approval. That makes them dangerous and hard to control, and that's the seed of the shock. Women who claim they want strength often want the illusion of strength, confidence. Yes, but not dominance. Success, yes, but not obsession. Power, yes, but only if it bends around her needs. The truly great man bends for no one. Josephine wasn't unique. She represented a pattern. Napoleon saw it. So did Caesar, whose wife Calpurnia feared his ambition more than the assassins did. So did Alexander, who conquered worlds but struggled with intimacy. So did countless men before and after. Why? Because the greatness of a man often removes him from emotional availability. He lives in discipline, in duty, in vision. That vision absorbs him, and while it builds empires, it destroys comfort. Most women who crave emotional intimacy sense this and flee. Napoleon wasn't confused. He understood the contradiction. He said, "A woman laughing is a woman conquered." But he also knew laughter dies in the shadow of greatness. Great men aren't entertainers. They are architects of legacy. In modern times, this truth remains buried. The lie we sell to men today is cruel. Become your best self, and love will follow. No, often your best self will make you lonely. Your ambition will scare her. Your obsession will feel like absence. Society has reversed the frame. It tells men to chase greatness for validation, but true greatness doesn't seek validation. It demands sacrifice. And most women don't want to live in that fire. They want warmth, not heat. Napoleon saw it, he lived it, and in the end he said there are only two forces that unite men, fear and interest. He could have added, and neither unites him with a woman who cannot stand his greatness. Now let's dive into Josephine's betrayal, not as a romantic twist, but as a window into the psychology of female desire. Napoleon returned from Italy a hero. He had won battles that reshaped Europe. He sent wealth, land, and honor back to France. And more than anything, he hurried back to Josephine. He expected loyalty. He expected gratitude. What he found was betrayal. Josephine had taken a lover. While Napoleon crushed armies, Josephine let another man warm her bed. Her letters, cold and shallow, barely masked her boredom. She dismissed his passion. She rolled her eyes at his declarations. She treated his victories as distractions. And the man who had won Europe couldn't win his wife's heart. Why? Because she didn't want to be one chapter in a grand story. She wanted to be the whole book. She wanted to be the center, not the reward. And Napoleon, with his blazing mind and unstoppable ambition, did not orbit her. He didn't flatter her ego. He didn't grovel. He built empires. That made her insecure. This isn't about Josephine as a villain. It's about female psychology, something men today ignore at their own risk. Most women don't want to feel inferior. They don't want to compete with a man's vision. They want emotional security, not existential awe. And great men don't offer security. They offer movement, tension, fire. Josephine saw in Napoleon what many women see in high-achieving men: distraction. She knew she wasn't first in his mind. His mission came first. His army, his purpose, his legacy. She couldn't compete, and so she punished him by cheating. Not out of lust, out of control, out of fear, out of the need to reassert emotional dominance. This is why great men suffer in love. Their very essence disturbs the emotional equilibrium. The average man flatters. He reassures, he serves. The great man leads, he demands. He disappears into purpose that creates distance. And most women cannot live in that distance. Modern culture pretends this isn't true. It pushes the lie that women want driven masculine men, but in truth they want driven men who still beg, masculine men who still bend, powerful men who still center them. That man doesn't exist. That man is a contradiction. Napoleon tried to keep Josephine close. He wrote endless letters. He begged, he raged, he blamed himself, he blamed her. But in all his power, he could not conquer the female need for emotional primacy. Greatness doesn't apologize. It consumes, it builds, it forgets birthdays, it misses dinners, it grows cold under pressure, it becomes distant in its intensity. Josephine preferred comfort to conquest. She chose mediocrity wrapped in emotional attention over excellence wrapped in emotional distance. This is the silent war most great men face. The choice between mission and affection. And many lose. Look around. How many great men die loved? How many inventors, generals, builders, visionaries spend their last days alone, misunderstood, or quietly resented by the very women they loved? Their greatness built nations, but it broke their marriages. Because most women don't want greatness in their home. They want empathy, they want softness, they want predictability. Napoleon was the opposite of that. He was chaos, he was war, he was thunder in a bottle. And Josephine preferred wine and poetry. This is not just history, it's a pattern. You see it today with entrepreneurs, artists, thinkers. The woman falls for the fire, then tries to extinguish it. She begs for the attention he used to give his purpose. She wants the power redirected toward her. When he refuses, she drifts. Napoleon gave Josephine everything a man could offer. He elevated her name, her house, her life, but she wanted him not as he was, but as someone who served her emotions, and he couldn't do it. Great men must ask themselves one question. Can you accept that your mission will cost you your comfort? Can you build an empire, knowing you may die without emotional closure? Napoleon answered yes. Most men today should as well. Now let's uncover how society gaslights great men into believing they are the problem, when in fact, it is their greatness that triggers fear and rejection. And see how modern systems punish excellence, reward compliance, and turn feminine insecurity into male guilt. To look at how modern culture speaks to men. It praises strength, but only the kind that apologizes. It celebrates power, but only if it kneels. The message is clear. Be excellent, but not intimidating. Be ambitious, but not unyielding. Be masculine, but not threatening. This isn't empowerment, it's manipulation. Society gaslights great men into guilt. It teaches them to shrink. It teaches them to soften their voice, slow their pace, doubt their decisions. Why? Because true greatness makes others feel small. And the modern world fears that imbalance. Napoleon didn't play that game. He didn't pretend to be normal. He didn't beg for approval. He didn't apologize for his ambition. And the world hated him for it. But even he wasn't immune to emotional sabotage. Josephine didn't just betray him, she confused him. She made him question himself. She used emotional withdrawal to make him chase. She played fragile to make him feel cruel. She made her unhappiness his fault. That is gaslighting, and it's the oldest tactic in the book. When a woman feels insecure in the shadow of greatness, she flips the script. She says, "You've changed." She says, "You're too intense." She says, "You don't care about me anymore." And if the man is not grounded, he believes her. He trades truth for approval, and that's how society breaks great men. First, it sends them women who can't handle their fire. Then it surrounds them with voices that tell them they're the problem. Then it rewards their submission with temporary peace and long-term self-betrayal. Napoleon saw it happen. He softened. He tried to win Josephine back. He let her stay, even after betrayal. He convinced himself he needed her. But that hesitation cost him more than just emotional pain. It distracted him. It slowed him. It made him question the very instincts that built his empire. Self-doubt is the death of greatness, and society knows that. That's why it manufactures weakness in men. It wraps weakness in praise. It calls compromise growth. It calls obedience love. It rebrands masculinity as toxicity. It tells great men they are too much and urges them to become less. Do not fall for it. The modern world teaches men that the only way to keep a woman is to become emotionally available, constantly present, and endlessly compromising. But here's the truth. Most women don't want great men. They want men who orbit them. And greatness does not orbit, it burns. If a man spends his life adjusting his strength to fit the comfort of others, he will die with regret. His fire will go unused. His gifts will rot in silence. He'll become liked, then forgotten. Look at our heroes today. They're dead, or hated, or both. That's the price of greatness in an age of emotional sensitivity. If you speak the truth, you get silenced. If you lead, they call you a tyrant. If you rise too fast, they'll drag you down. Not because you are wrong, but because your existence forces others to confront their own mediocrity, and that's unbearable. So, they attack you, they guilt you, they label you, and, worst of all, they use love to tame you. They say, if you really loved me, you'd slow down. If you cared, you'd stay home more. If you were a good man, you'd change. But here's the lie hidden in those words. They don't want you to be good, they want you to be safe. And greatness is never safe. Napoleon didn't win by being safe. He won by being dangerous, precise, obsessed. And for a time, he forgot that. He let love blind him. He let guilt quiet him. He let emotional manipulation steer him, and it cost him. You must learn this lesson. Do not let society redefine your power. Do not let comfort destroy your calling. Do not let emotional pressure make you dull your edge. The world needs sharp men. It needs loud voices. It needs unapologetic strength. Because when great men shrink, everyone suffers. Now let's break down the pattern of punishment. How women, culture, and weak institutions all conspire to destroy the men they once admired. And explore how admiration turns into resentment. And how even kings become villains the moment they stop serving feelings. Admiration never lasts. Not in the way most men expect. At first, women chase strength. They're drawn to power. They speak of confidence like it's a drug. They crave the fire until it burns too bright. Then they flinch. Napoleon felt this shift. In the beginning, Josephine admired his hunger. She marveled at his victories. She fed off his ambition. But slowly something changed. She stopped being inspired. She started feeling threatened. That is the pivot point. Greatness becomes a mirror. It reflects her own passivity, her missed chances, her lack of discipline, and that reflection stings. At first, she tries to match you. She works harder. She sharpens herself, but eventually, she tires. Then she turns. She no longer praises your drive. She critiques it. She calls you cold. She accuses you of being distant. She says you only care about success. Her aura curdles into resentment, and resentment demands correction. So, she punishes you, not with fists, not with words, but with silence, distance, withdrawal. She stops nurturing, stops celebrating, stops admiring. She becomes cold, sarcastic, dismissive. She pulls away not to leave, but to control. She wants to bring you down. This isn't personal, it's psychological. She needs you to feel what she feels. Small. She can't stand the imbalance, so she seeks to humble you, not by helping you grow, but by keeping you close and breaking your will. This is not love, it's sabotage. Most men don't see it. They're confused. They think they've changed. They think they're failing. So, they chase again. They try harder. They buy gifts. They soften their edge. But all that does is confirm her hidden belief. You weren't as great as you looked. Napoleon's downfall began not on the battlefield, but in the bedroom. Josephine's coldness aided him. He tried to win her back. He wrote letters. He gave her power. He placed her above his mission. And when she finally left him, he broke. That break wasn't emotional. It was internal. He lost the war inside. Every great man faces this moment. When the people who once admired him turn on him. When he becomes too much. When his very essence starts to offend. That is the moment he must choose. Shrink or rise higher. Most men shrink. They bend their voice. They dull their purpose. They apologize for being too focused, too serious, too masculine. They let love guilt them into surrender. But once they bend, the punishment doesn't stop. It intensifies. The woman no longer respects the man she controls. She pities him. Then she resents him more. His softness becomes proof of his weakness. His compliance kills her desire. She stays, but only to finish the job. And he becomes a shill. This cycle repeats across empires, businesses, families. The man builds something. The woman cheers. Then she feels small. Then she attacks. The man tries to appease. He loses himself. She loses respect. And both live in quiet bitterness. Why does this happen? Because women, like societies, rarely know what to do with a truly great man. He doesn't fit their frame. He won't obey. He won't submit. And when they realize they can't control him, they punish him not because he's wrong, but because he reminds them of everything they are not. That's the curse of greatness. It draws attention, then envy, praise, then sabotage, affection, then betrayal. First, they call you a genius, then a tyrant. First, they say they love you, then they ask why you never stop working. First, they worship your fire, then they fear it. Napoleon lived this cycle, so did Caesar. So did every man who ever walked ahead of his time. You will too if you stay great. This is not a warning. This is a challenge. Know what's coming, prepare for it, expect to be misunderstood, expect to be punished, expect the admiration to die. But never let that change you, because the moment you shrink for comfort, you kill your calling. Now let's expose the emotional warfare tactics used to keep great men on a leash. From fake vulnerability to strategic tears, from passive sabotage to open rebellion. And we'll give you the mindset to walk through it like fire. It doesn't start with a fight, it starts with softness. She'll say she's tired, she'll say she feels unseen. She'll cry softly, not for pain, but for control. She won't scream, she whisper, she won't strike, she sulk. This is not weakness, this is strategy. Emotional warfare hides behind vulnerability. She will tell you she's proud of you, but something feels missing. She praise your success but hint that your warmth has faded. She won't ask you to quit, but she'll make your purpose feel like betrayal. This is the trap. Great men don't fall to enemies, they fall to guilt. And she knows it. She won't attack your ambition directly. She'll tie it to her pain. She'll make your drive the villain of the story. And if you're not awake, you'll believe it. Napoleon made this mistake. He gave Josephine power. He gave her a crown, but he lost the edge. He stopped leading with fire. He started seeking approval. And once he did that, he lost both the woman and the war. You can't serve two kings. You can't build an empire while managing someone else's emotions. You can't lead while asking for love. You can't conquer while chasing peace. And once a woman sees you negotiating with your own greatness, she aims for the kill. Here's how it works. She will weaponize your moments of doubt. When you question your path, she'll double the pressure. When you hesitate, she'll offer comfort. Not to help, but to pacify. She wants to see if you'll choose her over your mission. If you do, she wins. But you both lose. She will pretend to be supportive, but the support will come with conditions. Be more present, be more fun, be more emotional, or dressed as love, but built to tame you. It's a slow poisoning. Your power dies drip by drip. You stop rising early. You cancel meetings. You lose focus. You explain yourself. You overcommunicate. You apologize for the fire that once made you irresistible. And she watches the lion become a lapdog. She won't respect you after that. This is the paradox. The more you give, the less she values. The more you shrink, the more she complains. The more you serve, the more she suffers. Because deep down, she doesn't want your softness. She wants to know your fire cannot be put out, even by her. She wants to feel that you won't betray your purpose for comfort, that you won't crumble for a kiss, that no matter what emotion she throws, your path stays sharp, that you're untouchable. Not because you're cold, but because you're cold. Women test you because they want to know if your greatness is real. They want to feel the boundary. They want to hit your ego and watch it stay still. If you flinch, you fail. If you bow, you die. The great man must hold the frame. He must not argue. He must not plead. He must not negotiate his mission for approval. He sees through the performance. He hears the emotion but does not answer it with guilt. He remains still, calm, focused. That is how you win this war. Not by becoming a tyrant, not by fighting her, but by refusing to bend for affection. By leading even when it hurts. By protecting your flame, because your power is not just what you do, it's what you refuse to give up. This breaks the game. She may rage, she may cry, she may try to leave. Let her. Your mission doesn't beg, it advances. It doesn't slow for love. It sharpens love. If she rises with you, good. If she folds, let her fall. This is the price of being a great man. You must walk through emotional fire without letting it burn your mission. You must be kind without being conquered. You must be present without becoming passive. And when love turns into war, you must remain the unshaken general. Napoleon forgot that, don't. Now let's end with the final truth. Why greatness is not just lonely, it's hunted. Why most women leave. Why only a rare few stay. And what kind of man you must become to walk through the fire and remain unbroken. This is the final truth. Greatness doesn't walk in peace, it walks under fire. When you rise, the attacks come. Not just from enemies, but from those closest. From the ones who once loved you. From the ones who once cheered. They don't hate the man, they hate the mirror. Your rise exposes their smallness. Your discipline exposes their laziness. Your clarity makes their confusion louder. Your hunger turns their comfort into shame. You don't judge, but your existence makes them feel judged. This is why great men are hunted, not because they harm, but because they shine. And the world fears light it cannot control. Women are no different. Some will say they want strength, but they'll try to control it. Some will say they want a leader, but they'll fight your leadership. Some will say they want a king, but they'll treat you like a servant. The truth is simple. Most women do not want great men. They want men who feel great, until they try to lead. They want men who make them feel special, until that man becomes focused on something higher. They want attention, not mission, and mission terrifies them. A man with purpose is not fully available. He doesn't text back fast. He doesn't sit around. He doesn't explain every move. He doesn't bend to every feeling. He's not cruel. He's just aligned, and alignment costs intimacy. That's what they can't handle. They don't want to compete with your greatness. They want to control it, not out of hate, but out of fear. Because if you succeed without needing them, they lose leverage. If your fire keeps burning while they withhold love, they're exposed. So they test you. They pull away to see if you'll chase. They insult to see if you'll react. They threaten to see if you'll fold. They cry to see if you'll stop. And when you don't, they call you cold. They call you selfish. They call you toxic. But that's the price. If you chase greatness, you won't be understood. You'll be misread, misjudged, hated, praised in public, punished in private, feared by those who can't match you, rejected by those who can't control you. This is the lonely path of the great man. Napoleon faced this. He gave everything. He fought everyone. He rose above nations, but he couldn't keep Josephine. She loved the crown, but not the crown bearer. She wanted the prestige, but not the price. She left the man who ruled Europe, and many men still don't get it. They think if they just get richer, stronger, more famous, she'll stay. But if she doesn't respect your path now, she'll never respect it later. If she needs to be carried, she will resent your movement. So what do? You accept this war. You stop chasing love that demands your silence. You stop pleading for comfort that costs your clarity. You stop bending to feelings that threaten your focus. You lead, you build. You walk alone if you must, because greatness demands it. You become the man who doesn't flinch, the man who doesn't explain, the man who can lose a woman and keep his crown. You make your mission sacred. You burn without apology, and you never forget. Most women don't want great men, they want safety. You offer storms, they want comfort. You offer conquest, they want attention. You offer absence, they want the man, but not the burden he carries. Let them go. The woman worthy of your path will not test your soul to feel seen. She will not drag your spirit to feel close. She will not ask for your fire, then cry when it burns. She will walk beside it, or walk away, and if she walks away, you keep walking because the empire doesn't build itself. If this truth shook you good, you were meant to hear it. Share this video with a man who needs to wake up. Comment below what part hit hardest, and subscribe to the Inner Citadel where we speak what others fear. This isn't a channel, it's a brotherhood. We rise, we lead, we never bend. Stay sharp, stay sovereign.